Hello everybody, welcome to this video to prepare you and welcome you to Season 3. After waiting so long, we've finally gotten Season 3 to release, or at least I'm hoping that's what the patch update was, because I'm making this video as Smite went down, so if I'm wrong, that'll be hilarious. But either way, there's a few things you guys need to know. For the first time in 2 weeks, I've gone back to Season 2 to play one game, and I saw how drastically different Season 2 was to Season 3. And it's ridiculous. To begin, I always thought that Season 3 was going to be the change nobody would like. The change that I would hate, bring back Season 2, but going back to Season 2, I realized I don't like what was in Season 2. Everybody says it was balanced and great, but I looked at it and I was like, considering that maybe all the changes Hi-Rez put into this game was for a good reason, and I understand that reason now. The amount of control the team had to cleanse was ridiculous, and if you had some form of CC, it wasn't all that viable. Everybody could beads quickly, sprint out of any slows, any cripple, everything was just easily cleansable. So it put us in a bad situation when I went back into this thinking, oh, I've caught my opponent out. And then I failed to realize they had so many ways to escape on my engagement that it was too safe to play. But quickly, let me get a brief explanation to you guys on crowd control. There will be a Tide guide later on this, but I need to get some information to you guys so you understand how to survive all the massive crowd control now that they have anti-crowd control items versus, just 90-second beads that will save you from death. So to begin, the first thing to know is that when you have CC reduction in your kit or build, you can only get up to 40% of that reduction, max. So don't try to overcap that thinking you're going to reduce all those stuns, slows, cripples, and everything by that much more. Next, it's important to remember that Purification has a very high cooldown, about 40 seconds above the average cooldown on these relics that are here. So it's important to know that if you are struggling with that as a relic, consider not getting it at all. Just make sure that the enemy team doesn't have an Ares who can insta-pull you, or unless you have an ult to escape the pull, sometimes it's just better to be pulled. Be aggressive, don't let that Ares come and pull you, kill his team before he gets that out. He is briefly kind of disarmed while he's pulling you, there's nothing much he can do but wait to actually pull you, and if you can get a decent play out at the time, you might end up saving your whole team and end up wiping the other. When getting CC reduction, I should also note that there are a few different types of crowd control. There is an applied version, a channeled version, and then there are the knockups. Applied crowd control is essentially just crowd control that is applied to you through a skill or an item. Pretty much, you just get a debuff on you and it's there. You can cleanse it with either Purification, you can reduce the amount of time it is on you with crowd control reduction, or if you're being applied hard crowd control consecutively, it will also reduce that because it's got a diminishing return. For each hard crowd control you are hit by, it reduces the next one by 33% and the stacks up to 66%. Once at 66%, all hard crowd control is reduced by that amount until 15 seconds pass where you are not controlled by a hard crowd control. Now, you cannot reduce knockup's crowd control time, but they do count as hard crowd control, so if a stun follows it up, the stun's timer will be reduced. So what I would call channeled crowd control is crowd control from an ability or item that is channeled in a way that it is not diminished or reduced by crowd control reduction items. For example, Nox's Shadow Lock is a 2-second root and cripple, and if she hits you with it, it will last for 2 seconds unless you are cleansed of the ability. There is no amount of diminished returns or crowd control reduction that will assist you on escaping any faster than the 2 seconds. So what this means is that channeled crowd control can only be purified or cleansed by Purification Relic, or a cleansing ability such as Hell's Cleanse. Simple as that. The third and final form of crowd control are knockups. You can only cleanse them before they come into contact with you so you do not become knocked up. But once you are hit into the air or knocked back, that's another type, same thing, you will be in the air for the amount of time indicated by the ability. So there's no way to come back down faster, there's no way to avoid it once it's done. However, let's say you got grabbed by a Wheelix mid-air, you can indeed beads the Wheelix ult because that is not a pop-up more than it is a pull, and you can beads the pull. I believe that is everything to prepare you guys for Season 3. There really isn't that much of a change, and everything feels nice about this game. The item updates make a lot of gods more viable, the new map to Joust makes the plays in Joust more interesting, more fun, it isn't so bland, and turtling's pretty much gone. If you are struggling in Joust against a team of turtles, make sure to go get the Fire Giant. Leave 2 allies behind to kinda zone the team out while one person claims the Fire Giant. Once Fire Giant is claimed, an objective goes down and you can make a free, safe play against them. If they are not capable of handling your team, that leaves a win for you. However, don't forget, sometimes people backed into a corner play a little more aggressively. Even if the Phoenix is down, make sure to play it smart and don't get caught out. With all the experience I've had in the last 2 weeks, I can say that I've had a ton of fun and I'm already loving the changes. It took me a while to get used to them, of course, as is with all change, but please do not fret. Everything is going to be okay. The new changes are not broken, overpowered in any way, and honestly, now we get to play the gods for what they are and really see a lot of their kits shine instead of being shut down easily. It wasn't until Season 3 that I really come to appreciate a god's full kit now, because it was always easy to counter it. An active that completely counters a god is a little ridiculous, and since the relics are weaker, now the gods can truly shine. And though yes, crowd control is a bit more rough to get used to, now it's all about playing safe and building a real team comp that complements both crowd control and damage. As a final heads up, there are additional bans to both Joust, Duel, and Conquest. I believe Conquest will now have bans of 4 on each team, a total of 8, and Joust and Duel will have a ban of 3 for each side, a total of 6. If you have no idea what I mean by what Duel is the new 1v1. Duel is essentially a way for us to differentiate the difference between the 3v3 and the 1v1. So now we will be referring to Joust as Duel, 3v3s as Joust, and Conquest as Conquest. Hopefully you all are ready for Season 3. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've been prepared with the PTS videos I've uploaded. There are new metas, new ways to play. Go out there and explore. Have fun. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, good game.